Hello, I'm John Hoover. I'm the marketing director here at Tellabs. I've been with Tellabs for nearly 20 years. Started out in the application engineering department, and that was back when we were first rolling out passive optical networking to Verizon for their Fios network. It was about 2010 that I moved over into the product house and started helping out with implementing passive optical LAN into all the enterprise industries. And a common trending topic has always been how optical LAN inherently provides software-defined networking features and functionalities. That is, it always has been centralized management and centralized intelligence. That was important for Verizon because they were trying to cut back on truck rolls to houses, which cost a lot of money. Well, in the enterprise realm, it's all about making IT staff more productive. And it's about cutting back on them, walking up and down hallways, up and down floors, going building to building, doing their daily moves, adds, and changes. So if we can create operational efficiencies by cutting back on that, it saves the staff time, allows them to be more focused, and then it certainly saves the company time as well. What you can do with passive optical LAN is you can define network resources in software, in global profiles. And then those network resources are dynamically allocated based on real-time needs. To illustrate that, I'm going to show you a couple screen capture videos that show a comparison between provisioning a legacy Ethernet switch using command line interface and then doing this in a passive optical LAN environment where we're using global profiles templates. So to illustrate this first, what I'll do is I will launch this screenshot of provisioning a traditional Ethernet switch using CLI, and you all should be familiar with this paradigm. It's how things are done today in traditional architecture. You're running around building to building, floor to floor, closet to closet. You're logging into each individual switch, and through a command line interface, you're having to configure the ports and the switches. Now, what we're going to do here is we're not going to configure everything about the switch. We're just configuring a single port. And we're not going to harden it. We're not going to do the STIGs for higher security. And we're not going to provision the services that are across it. We're not going to do the STP or ACLs or PoE. This is just an example of a simple basic port configuration. And I should tell you that we actually had to reshoot this several times because mistakes were made. That's only human. But that really does illustrate the point that one of the things we're trying to do is take the human element out of this equation. Okay, so this actually goes on for 1.5 minutes, and for the sake of time, I don't know if you all really want to watch this play out, because you should be rather familiar with it. But it does go on for 1.5 minutes, and that's just one port. That's just a simple port configuration. So let me just go ahead and stop this. What we're trying to get to is we aspire to do zero-click provisioning. We're trying to get to more plug-and-play, more machine-to-machine type actions that eliminates the human factor and eliminates the human errors. When you own an optical LAN system, you have this ability to do zero-click provisioning, the plug-and-play. And that's where you go ahead and set up all the parameters of, let's say, a Ethernet port on ONT, or the whole ONT, or perhaps you configure a slot, a PON slot at an OLT, or perhaps you're doing a global profile for the whole OLT itself. But nonetheless, those are saved, and they capture all the configurable parameters of the ONT on a fly. This is usually done by a senior technician. It's done once and then stored. And then at that point in time, a junior technician can just walk out to the office space and then plug in these ONTs, and they automatically turn up and activate. So my next example that I'd like to show you is the plug and play. This is an example of we're just going to plug in a OT248. It's already been provisioned. It already has a profile set up. So this is a 48-port, one rack unit OT. It's a great economical one-to-one replacement of a traditional closet-based switch. This is perfect apples-to-apples comparison. So with that template profile already created, all parameters of this OT248 can be configured in seconds. We just plugged in this ONT, and as we're scrolling through, you can see that the VLANs are configured. The SNMP traps are set up. How you want alarms to trigger as things come up and down is provisioned. You see the PoE is turned on, the BPDU guard, the root guard, LLDP power management is set up, and then the LLDP inventory criteria is all, well, all that was done in the profile. And what you just saw was just the plugging in of that 48 port ONT, and it came right up in seconds fully configured. So that's where we say that this is an example of how passive optical LAN satisfies and delivers all the intent and the features and functions that you find in a software-defined networking. Now you may ask, well, what about building that template and profile? So this next video screenshot is the building of that profile. And we're going to do all the same things that you saw in that last screenshot. We're setting up, we're in an admin state, so everything's going to be captured into a template and a profile. We're setting up VLANs, RSTP, 802.1x, the ACLs, the PoE, alarming, port security, policy. You can see that's all in there, and everything was done in 20 seconds. If you're not familiar with how to do this, please look at the Tellabs technical documentation. This can save you a lot of time. It can certainly save your company a lot of time. It speeds up the installation of ONTs, but it also speeds up the installation of the subtended devices, the power devices, everything that's hanging off the Ethernet connection. Through the MAC unique identifier, we can tell the difference between a WAP and a IP camera and an IP phone. And as you plug those into the Ethernet port of the ONT, we can pass down configuration criteria to those devices as well. So they become plug and play, the ONTs become plug and play. And then once you have this template profile set up, you can actually copy and paste, highlight all of the PON ports, let's say on an OLT, and apply it. So you could provision a whole OLT within 20 seconds, within seconds. So what I just said is we're talking about provisioning, let's say an OLT1, a FlexSim OLT1, 4,000 Ethernet endpoints in 20 seconds. And if this is an OLT6, we're talking about 8,000, potentially 8,000 Ethernet endpoints hanging off that OLT6, provisioned, turned up in seconds. The net takeaway, that comparison between provisioning in a traditional LAN environment and then provisioning with global profiles and templates in an optical LAN, it not only does it save time, it's just a better way to build and operate a network. You've actually eliminated network vulnerabilities, and you're doing so in an environment that has better bandwidth capacity and can support a greater number of endpoints, greater density. And so as these videos demonstrated, you can speed IT productivity, and ultimately that saves the company money. If you would like to learn more about passive optical LAN and Tellabs in particular, please visit our website. I also encourage you to follow us on all the social media platforms to keep abreast with all the latest technologies that we're rolling out. So with that, I will wish you all have a great day and a great rest of your week.